Hey everyone, Drew here. The girl from Plainville Miniseries on Hulu. I feel like if you're watching this video, you probably already have a strong opinion about this miniseries one way or the other. So I realize I'm probably going to be in a minority on this one. But I feel like if you're interested in this story, check out I Love You, Now Kill Yourself, the HBO Max it's a documentary. It's just like 2 hours. Check that out. I feel like that's more worth your time than this is. And, mileage is going to vary, but I have mixed feelings about this. There's definitely some good things here, but overall, I just feel like if you're interested in this story, that's the way to go. Because I feel like if you're going to make a mini series, you have to have more to say than this one does. I feel like it's a little too just like a reenactment of what happened rather than putting any kind of meaning into it or adding anything to our understanding of the events. But if you are interested in this mini-series and you would rather watch a mini-series than a 2-hour documentary, you know what? Go for it. I'm going to say the positives and the negatives. I'll try to do a positive and then a negative so it's kind of balanced out. But positives on this, it is a fascinating story, and if you're not familiar with it, this does a really good job of just walking you through all the details and giving you a really good understanding of what happened. And it is really well made. They do really do a good job of directing it. But I think that if you're someone who wants to know what happened and you're interested in details, this does a really good job of giving you all the details. Negative on that, it feels like there's a little bit too much here, like they're just trying to throw everything in the kitchen sink in here, and it actually ends up, I think, being too many details, if that's possible, without, like I said, kind of coloring in the details to give you more insight. It just kind of reenacts the events, and if that's what interests you, if you're interested in seeing a series that's just the facts, man, then this will work for you. If you're looking for a little bit more than that, second, I feel like a positive is that it gives time to so many different angles of the story. Like, I think that it's important that they show, I think we're all familiar with this story, so I'm not spoiling anything, but they show the perspective quite vividly of Conrad Roy III and everything that he was struggling with in terms of anxiety and in his family life and all the things that would drive him to make this decision. There's this really, really good sequence where they show him amping himself up to go to a party at a friend's house. And they could have over-dramatized this, shown someone bully him, shown any number of other things to just really amplify how he was feeling. But they don't do that. They just kind of show the quiet pain of someone who just is experiencing social anxiety and doesn't know how to fit in. And I applaud them for that. And I really applaud the performance by Colton Ryan. I think he does a marvelous job of just making this character seem human, making him seem authentic, helping you to see his pain, and just giving a really nuanced and riveting performance. To me, in the first 3 episodes, I find his performance the most engaging. Which brings me to my critique of this series, which this is just going to be me in a lot of cases, I feel, but I have a very low tolerance for cringe, and I find it almost impossible to watch any of the scenes with Elle Fanning's Michelle Carter. I think that she's the central figure in this case, certainly, and the big question that the series is seeking to answer is why? Why would she encourage him to do this?
What motive could she possibly have for wanting him to kill himself?
That's what I want to find out.
I don't know that it's really going to answer that. It kind of gives the same answer that you would get just reading about the case online, because there just isn't, it's really hard to fathom why someone would do this. But the way that Elle Fanning portrays the character it's a good performance. It's pretty probably accurate to who she was. But it's just really, really painful to watch for me. I find myself muting a lot of the scenes where she's talking, but she's just so insipid.
I'm the only one who knows why he really did it.
Well, why did he do it?
He was too bright for this world.
He was my star, and he left too soon.
Is that from Glee?
And watching her try to get all this attention to herself for this death that she contributed to, it's just really, really hard to stomach. It's really, really grating. And I found myself muting her when she was talking and just putting on the subtitles so I would know what she was saying, but I wouldn't have to listen to her voice. And again, I'm not the biggest fan of Elle Fanning, but she is a very good actress and she does quite a good job here. Another positive is that because they have 8 episodes, they have a lot of time to develop the characters, to show a lot of different angles of the story, as I said. We can show the family grieving, we can show the victim, give time to him and his story, we can give time to the investigation and how they figured out what happened. They can give time to the prosecution, all those elements, procedural elements, and also the personal elements. But the negative of that is this feels excessively padded. There's so many scenes that are redundant or unnecessary or start way too early and go on way too long. It feels like this could have very, very easily been a 2-hour movie or even a 4-episode miniseries, but 8 episodes is just too much, I feel. Another positive, which I kind of alluded to already, is that it doesn't over-dramatize the story. It really just gives you the facts. It lays out to you what was said, how people acted, and all those details. So it's not over-embellished, it's just very, very factual. A negative to that is that it doesn't add a lot to what you already know because it's just giving details that are just public knowledge. And a lot of the dialogue ends up, if you're paying attention, they do a pretty good job of making the conversations seem natural, and they use actually a lot of the texts that Michelle and Coco sent each other in real life. But the thing is that if you pay attention, you'll realize that a lot of the time they're just establishing facts during the conversations. They don't actually give you insights into these characters' souls other than like, I'm on drugs for mental health issues. I'm taking school from home. They give you a lot of facts, but not a lot of insight into these characters beyond that. When they're saying things that aren't, just facts that are common knowledge, a lot of the time they're saying things that are just so innocuous as to be, like, who cares that they said that? But the other thing I noticed is, they're not giving these characters speeches about things that give, a window into their soul. Like, they're not speaking for these characters. They're just letting the characters state things that we know are true about them or things that we know that they said based on, transcripts of text conversations and such. That's a valid approach to not try to, add to a story beyond what actually happened. But at the same time, it kind of leaves you wondering, well, what was the point of making this then? Because we already kind of know the facts of this story. So if you're not going to add beyond that, then why make it a miniseries? Why not just make it a documentary like the very, very good one on HBO? I'm going to keep plugging for that one, but it is very, very good. So all in all, I think that a lot of people are really going to enjoy this. There's a lot to like here. I think there are some very emotional and moving moments, particularly dealing with the social anxiety that this person was experiencing before he ultimately committed suicide. And there are, at times, interesting questions touched upon, although it doesn't really seem to have like a critique or something to add to the topic other than just bringing up those issues. But it is well done, it's well acted, and it gives you a very, very detailed account of what happened. It's not dry. I'm making it sound very, very dry, but it isn't really a dry miniseries. It's just not a story in the way that I like to see stories told, where they have like a perspective. It doesn't really have a perspective, and I would have liked to see one here. So those are my thoughts for what they are worth. I know I get more negative feedback when I give negative reviews, but I have to be honest about how I see these series. I'm going to keep watching probably with my wife, but we'll see. I mean, there's a lot of TV out right now, and like I said, I feel like I already know this story, so what are they really going to add to my understanding in the next 5 episodes that I don't already know? That's the question I keep asking myself, and I have to suspect maybe not a lot. So again, those are my thoughts for what they are worth. If you're interested in seeing upcoming reviews on this channel, please consider subscribing. And as always, thanks for watching.